Hello guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today being Friday, August the 6th. Hopefully you guys have had a great trading week up till now, and today is a cracking last day for you as well of the week. So my name is Becky, my email address is here, and my another email is here as well, so becky@tradictive.com and support@tradictive.com. So if you have any questions, of course, you can get hold of us on that. Now we also have the disclaimers that we need to go through. There we are. These are obviously important for legal reasons that you guys read it, but of course good for you guys to understand that these are demonstrations of how we do things and not necessarily indicative of the results you might get. Okay, so now that we've done that, let me just show you another quick link that you can go to ask some questions, which will be, here we go, tradewithufos.com/Becky. So this link will take you here. From here, you can set yourself up with a free Trade with UFOs membership if you don't have one already. And the good thing about that is that once you have one, you can then come down here and ask a question in a public space, which means the answer can also be posted in a public space and other people can learn from the question. So recently, we've had one of our students has posted a lot of questions here, which is brilliant because it means we can use them to do videos on them. We can use them to answer in public. We can use them so that other people can learn from them. So the more you guys can do that, the better. Also from this link, you can book one-on-one coaching with me as well if you'd like to. Okay, so let's get into our 3D market commentary. So let's just bring that up. There we go. So every day we send out an email, looks like this on the left-hand side. And on that email, it has information on 5 major markets in the world. And we look at 3 separate elements per market, which is why we call it a 3D approach. So let me just move this a second and then I can highlight this for us. So 3D approach, 3 separate elements. Now, the first thing we want to look at when we're looking to trade is market climate, upcoming market direction. Is it going up? Is it going down? Therefore, should we buy or should we sell? Or in some cases, should we do nothing and change time frame or change market? Now, we use an app to help us with this. It's called the AutoClimate app. It's this one down here. It's a free app on most platforms you can get it on. And what AutoClimate does, in the color and the size of the dots that we see, tells us what we should be doing. It's really simple, really. So ignore the lines, just focus on the dots. If we have a thick blue dot, that tells us probability is upwards. We should look to buy. If we have a thick red dot, that tells us probability is downwards. We should look to sell. If it's a thin dot of either color, that tells us not enough probability either way. I've lost my mouse for a second there. That tells us not enough probability either way, in which case we should do nothing. Now, I have lost my, there it is. I've lost my mouse for a second there. So we are using AutoClimate to help us with that. Now, the second thing we want to understand is if we're going to buy, where do we buy? If we're going to sell, where do we sell? And this is where our UFOs come in, unfilled orders. Now, UFOs are these guys here. So we have these little, looks like flying saucers. That's kind of also why they're called UFOs, right? We've got green ones and we've got red ones. The green ones show us where we have buyers. Now, if we're going to buy, we want to buy where there's loads of other buyers because they're much more likely to push price up. The more buying there is, the more likely it is to push price upwards. If we're selling, then we want to sell where there's lots of sellers. That's where the red UFOs show us where we should be selling because those are where other sellers are. If we're selling, we want to sell with lots of other sellers because it's much more likely to push price down. The more sellers there are, the more likely price comes down. So we use these to help us specifically with our entries and exits. That helps us to increase our probability of being right. It also helps us to reduce our risk and to get the most out of the market as well and get a bigger reward. Third thing we want to look at is market volatility. Essentially, how quickly do we expect these markets to move? So let's go on and we'll start with the S&P. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's suddenly raining very, very hard here. Very hard. It's very loud. So sorry if you guys can hear that, but that's what that is. So with the S&P, we're looking at the ES, which is the futures contract for it. Now the S&P 500 is the top 500 US stocks. And we're looking at the futures that represents that. So essentially we are looking at a representation of US stocks. So hopefully that helps. Now, let me just make sure, see if we've got any questions. No, that's cool. Alrighty. So with the S&P, we have a confirmed upwards climate, a thick blue dot here telling us probability is upwards. Now, usually the market would go up for 9 candles, just rounded that up, and we're on candle number 3, telling us we have probability to continue to move up based on what usually happens. We also have buy orders beneath us here that have worked to push price up a little bit, a few times. So price came in, hit the buyers, went up. Came back in, hit the buyers, went up. Came back in, hit the buyers, went up. This is the point, is that we use these UFOs to tell us where we should be buying, because it's got probability to tell us that price is likely to go up from there. And then sell orders as well will do that for selling. Now the numbers or prices for these stacks of buy orders that we have here is 4371.50 to 4341.50. That's where we have stacks of buyers. So overall probability upwards here with the S&P. We've got the climate to the upside, we've got room for it to continue based on what usually happens, and we have buy orders beneath us pushing price upwards. So overall everything's sort of lining up for an upwards probability. Now notice I'm saying words like probability, right? It's not definite. Nothing is ever definite in life, and definitely not in the markets. So we need to be, of course, vigilant. We need to manage our risk. We need to perhaps add more variables and increase our probability. But as far as these statistics are telling us so far, and this technology is telling us, we have probability to the upside. Hope that makes sense. So with volatility, we can see that we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 17.16%. That tells us that in a day, we would expect the S&P to move up or down of 47.82 points. In a week, it would be 105.26 points. And in a month, 219.13 points up or down within that period of time. So that's the S&P. Moving on to the next market, which is oil. In the meantime, it says about educating yourself. There are many courses that we do in futures, stocks, forex, backtesting, trading plans and psychology. Most of them come with 3-month complimentary access to the apps. Now, AutoClimate is a free app, AutoUFOs is not. Depending on the platform you use, depends on the price. You can subscribe directly to the UFOs without needing to take a course. So you can just go in, subscribe to the UFOs and just use them as they are. However, a lot of times it actually works out cheaper to pay for a course and get 3 months free on the apps than it would be to go directly for the apps for those first 3 months. So hopefully that makes sense there. Of course, any questions, let us know. Coming back to oil, we have a confirmed downwards climate. Thick red dot there, probability downwards. Now usually the market would go down for 7 candles. I keep losing my mouse for a second, I don't know why this is happening. That's very strange. Sorry, here we are. Usually it goes down for 7 candles and we're on candle number 4. Again, my mouse is being strange again. Apologies for this. We're on candle number 4 out of 7. I'm going to maybe not use my drawing tool for a second today. I'm just going to highlight it in different ways. So we're on candle 4 out of 7, which tells us probability to continue to come down. However, what we need to bear in mind is that we have a situation here with buy orders and sell orders really close to each other. So we have buy orders just here. The numbers for that are 67.61 to 65.01. We then have sell orders literally just above us here, and those are from 71.96 to 69.19. So what we have is sell orders coming in from the UFO, also sell orders from the climate, but then buy orders coming in from the UFO. The buy orders have already worked to push price up a little bit. So we've got buying pressure that's come in and is working, but we have selling pressure as well. So at the moment we've got these two forces competing with each other. I personally don't like to get involved in these fights. I would rather see who wins and jump on that, because otherwise you have less probability. So for me, when we're trading, we need to make sure we have as many probabilities, sort of factors going in our favour. And in this case, even though we have probability to the downside with the climate, even though we've got sell orders, because we've got buy orders that are pushing price up, it's taking away that probability to the downside. So overall, I would say not enough probabilities either way on this one, or at least not enough for me to want to place a trade. Now when it comes to volatility, again I'm going to highlight it this way just so we don't weirdly zoom in and stuff like that. So we have in a year movement up or down on oil of 39.09%, which means in a day up or down of 1.72 points, in a week 3.78 points up or down, and in a month 7.86 points up or down on oil. Okay, next market is gold. Now it says that about coaching and support just down here. Now, of course, we do a lot of sessions for free on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and other platforms as well. So you can, of course, join us on those. Those are free. We do have a closed coaching community, which is paid for, and that gives you access to more of our time in a closed environment. But either way, we go through the same thing. It's just the difference of how you get our time and how much of our time. So with gold, we have an unconfirmed climate. So it says there no. And we see down here that we have a thin dot. Kind of hard to see, but it's a thin dot on our auto climate. So it doesn't actually matter what the colour is. It doesn't matter that it says down. What it matters is that it's a thin dot, it's unconfirmed. Not enough probabilities either way. Now, I'm not surprised that this happened because we had confirmed upwards climate for a few days, and yesterday, if you tuned in yesterday, was talking about the fact that we had a confirmed upwards climate from the climate, so probability upwards, but we had sell orders here that had already pushed price down quite a few times. So these sell orders between 1866 to 1804.4 have pushed price down enough that the climate is now not strong enough to be able to call it to the upside. So it's kind of exactly what you would expect. If you've got buyers and seller orders coming against each other and they're relatively even, eventually you're going to lose probability one side or the other, and one of them has to break out, one of them has to win that fight before you then have probability in that way. So it's kind of happened exactly as we thought. We've got buy orders down here at 1652.8 to 1624.4, so quite a way down. So overall at the moment, not enough probability with gold. Change time frame perhaps, or change market. With volatility on gold, we would expect movement in 1 year, up or down, of 14.84%, which in 1 day is 16.83 points up or down. In a week, 37.04 points up or down, and in a month, 77.10 points up or down. So that is gold. Moving on to the US dollar. Now the US dollar is responsible for 80% of transactions that go on in the world every day. Be aware of it. It will affect probably all of the markets that you trade or could trade. So with the US dollar, we have similar kind of thing, unconfirmed climate. Doesn't matter that it's red, doesn't matter that it says down. What matters is that it's unconfirmed, not enough probabilities. Now with that, we have sell orders up here at 93.47 to 93.005. So if price was to come up and hit them, we would expect them to come back down like they've already done. Again, price came into sell orders, came back down, went into sell orders, came back down. That's what we expect sell orders to do. Hence why we want to know where they are so we know where to sell. Now there's buy orders down here at 90.64 to 90.31. So we're obviously much closer here to the sell orders. So for the time being unconfirmed, but I would be looking out for once we hit these sellers, what would happen here and if it pushes price back down again. Now with volatility, we expect in a year 5.54% movement up or down on the US dollar, which tells us that in 1 day we would expect 0.32 points up or down in movement. In a week, 0.71 points up or down, and in 1 month, 1.48 points up or down. Okay, so moving on to the last market, which is backed Bitcoin. Again, as I load that, it says here about interested but have questions. You can self-schedule a clarification call with one of our experts if you have questions about the apps and the courses and how you use them and what you should be using, what's going to be best for you, if anything. So by all means, self-schedule a clarification call and speak to one of our experts to help you with that. Now, coming on to Bitcoin, we have a confirmed upwards climate. Thick blue dot here, probability upwards. Now, we don't actually know how long this market usually moves up or down because it's not old enough yet. It's not been going on long enough that we have the data to be able to say that. What we do know is that we're on candle 12 to the upside, but we don't know whether or not that's usual or normal. Now, we're kind of in the middle of orders. We have buy orders here. That's 32,820 to 31,615. We have sell orders up here at 51,782.5 to 46,807.5. We're kind of in the middle. So for the time being, it's the climate that's giving this probability to the upside here with backed Bitcoin. Now with Bitcoin, we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 96.11%, which is in a day, 2,479.56 points up or down. In a week, 5,458.51 points up or down. And in 1 month, 11,362.79 points up or down. So that would be the volatility figures. And that's all of the markets that would have looked at today. So we've looked at 5 major world markets. We've looked at the probabilities associated with them. Where are they likely to be going based on the climate? Where are they likely to be going based on buyers and sellers that are present, and where are they? And how quickly do we expect these markets to move? This email gets sent out every day to our members. It's a free membership, so you can get yourself a free membership there. If you go to tradewithufos.com/Becky, you can get yourself your free Trade with UFOs membership here, just at the top. And then also from here, you can come down and ask questions in this area, like I said at the start, which means I can answer the questions there and everybody learns. You can also book one-on-one coaching with me as well through that if you'd like to. Now, one more thing to go through before we wrap up is this weekly economic calendar. Now, we get this from fxstreet.com. This is the link that we use, so you can go to that link and filter by what you want to filter by. We filter here by high impact news, meaning news that is likely to create volatility in the markets. It's up to you to decide how you respond to that information. The important thing is that you know that you could see volatility in the markets that you trade. So today being Friday, in a little while, it might have already come out now, we have US non-farm payrolls. They are likely to cause movement on the markets. And we also have Canadian dollar news coming out as well. So if you trade in those countries or you trade those currencies, perhaps be aware of that. That is me done. I have finished the session this morning. I'll be back on Monday with another session on the market commentary, and tomorrow I'll be doing a sharpening session, which is where we go through more questions and answers, theory and things like that. So if you'd like to, you can join me there as well. Either way, I'll see you guys on an upcoming session one way or another. If you have any questions, of course, you can email me, or you can go to that link, tradewithufos.com/Becky. Otherwise, guys, have a great weekend.